Hello everyone and welcome back to my opinion. And in this preview video, we'll be looking at a side that I've never quite understood. They got to the finals in 2014 and that side being the Punjab Kings. I thought they did a good job in the mini auction last year and I thought the only way they weren't going to get to the playoffs is if they didn't help themselves. It wasn't as tumultuous of a season in the previous year like we have seen in the past in some cases, but there was a point of, I wouldn't say tumultuousness, but you saw the season that Mayank Agarwal had, and I reiterate, he was not out of form in the previous season, as wasn't Riley Russo in the recent SA20, where he didn't have a great time of things. With both those players, Mayank Agarwal has gone to the domestic circuit and averages 82 in first class cricket. And in the case of Riley Russo, he's gone to the PSL and expectedly scored runs. So they both won out of form in their respective campaigns, and they subsequently released Mayank. And during that 2022 season, towards the latter part of the season, he sacrificed his opening spot for the team. And like LSG, I thought Punjab shouldn't tinker with things too much regarding their squad, as I thought they had a good auction in the mega auction. And if they didn't tinker with things, they would still have a good squad leading up to this season. And while they've got some good players there, they had 32 crores to go in with into the mini auction. And I honestly don't know how they've managed to do what they've done. Yes, two very good signings in Sam Curran and Sikandar Raza. But they've got 12 crores left over. They've got 3 player slots left over. And they've got 2 Indian slots, 1 overseas. And you just think there are clearly positions in the side that you needed to fill. And an extra assurance policy in terms of another backup seamer, another overseas seamer wouldn't have hurt at all. You've got Nathan Ellis there, but is he going to be a backup to Kahiso Rabada, or would you rather get a Wayne Parnell, who can also bat a bit, as can Rabada? So I didn't understand them leaving 12 crores, leaving 3 slots and 3 vital slots as well. And the thing is, like I've said before, they could have brought Mayank Agarwal back and he could have opened with Shikhar Dhawan, and this side would have still looked fairly decent. And I thought, and even that one signing would have meant that they wouldn't have compromised things too much from the squad they had in the previous year. And with so much money left over, and with really, apart from Shikhar Dhawan, lacking a top class international batsman, I think that they may find things a bit more challenging this season. I think their bowling is their strength. They've got someone like a Kahiso Rabada, a brilliant season the last time around, 23 wickets in 13 games. You'd notice that I've included his 2022 stats rather than the stats from before. And that's because, like I've said a lot of times, I feel like if you look at the 2020 season that he got 30 wickets, yes, but I thought the batsman played the reputation of the bowler rather than the deliveries that he bowled. And I thought he got wickets off deliveries that weren't too great, and I thought you couldn't persist with that for a long while. And you saw in 2021, yes, 15 wickets and 15 gains, but drastically less effective and conceding more sixes than he did in the previous season. Whereas this season, or the previous season rather, he got back that movement with the ball early on in T20s. I used the phrase he only moved the ball around in T20s early on once in a blue moon. For example, when he dismissed Warner in qualifier 2 of IPL 2020 with that delivery. And in the previous season, he got that swing back up front and he bowled well in all phases of the innings and was fantastic. This is the season that I wanted him to have in all the seasons of the IPL that he has played. I didn't quite see that in the seasons before, even though he got wickets and it seemed like he had a great season on paper. Which, yes, 30 wickets, I'm sure it would be great at that point in time, but in terms of the fundamentals regarding can you replicate that success using the same method, we saw in 2021 that he didn't have as great of a year as he did in 2020. And I feel like if he sticks to what he did in 2022, then it will help him not only for this season, but the seasons beyond as well. So that's on him. Arshdeep Singh has emerged as a fantastic bowler for India, and the advantage with both him and Rabada is that they've been relatively injury-free so far, and I feel that both of those two as a combination of the best death bowling duo in this competition. We saw what they did the previous season. Arshdeep Singh took 10 wickets, I think, in 14 games or so, but he nailed those Yorkers. And when him and Rabada bowled at the end, especially in the game against CSK, where Ambati Valley was going so well, they did 47 off 24. And against any other side, you would have thought, right, CSK could do it, the momentum's with them. But I knew they wouldn't do it because of the two bowlers that had to bowl the last 4 overs. So if these two fire once again this season, then I think things will be good for them on a bowling front, and they will have to fire because of the slight compromise of their squad from the previous season. There's a statement signing in Sam Curran, who, looking at his stats in the IPL and in general as well, you've seen he's got 32 wickets in as many games, and I think he's been more of an impact player in T20 cricket, where we've seen, especially in that 4 for 11, I think it was in 2019, where he took a hat-trick against the Delhi Capitals to win the game for the Punjab Kings, or the then Kings 11 Punjab, in a very unlikely game. It was going very well for the Delhi Capitals, and Sam Curran won the game for them out of nowhere. And we've seen for CSK where he's walked out and got a few boundaries and helped his side. And therefore you see that strike rate of 149.78, and he's got 250s as well. So an impact player. And I think with the ball, you've got Arshdeep Singh, Kagiso Rabada, and Sam Curran. All three can bowl at the death, and you could maybe attack up front with Arshdeep Singh and Kagiso Rabada getting movement. Sam Curran can move the ball as well, usually bowls in the low 130s, but I just feel like Arshdeep Singh and Rabada will be the more intimidating bowlers to face up front. And with Sam Curran being able to bowl to death, you could even bowl any two of those three at the death and you should be fine. With the bat, since he is an impact player, I think the Punjab Kings would benefit with the top 6 going well, and then whatever Sam Curran scored, you could score. You also got someone like a Harpreet Bar and Raj Bawa at 8 as well. You could play either of those depending on the surface. So you've got 2 players that can add quick runs and can help with the ball. So I think the key for the Punjab Kings is to go well in terms of their top 6, which I think will be the challenge. But if they do go well in their top 6, then you've got a Sam Curran who, along with what he does with the ball, he can add that impact, those impact runs at number 7. I think 3 Indian batsmen will be vital for them this season in Shikhar Dhawan, Shah Rukh Khan and Jitesh Sharma. Starting off with Shikhar Dhawan, we've seen what he's done in the IPL all these years, the second highest run scorer on aggregate behind Virat Kohli. And we've seen him play different kinds of roles. In SRH, we saw him play second fiddle to David Warner, who went more aggressively. And for a brief period of time in the Delhi Capitals, I think especially in the 2020 and 2021 seasons for the first half, we saw the strike rate go up. And in 2019, Ricky Ponting did call out Shikhar Dhawan's strike rate. And ever since then, for a brief period of time, we saw that strike rate go up. And in the previous season, he struck in the 120s and scored above 400 runs once again. He'll be vital for a side as a batsman and as a captain. And since they don't have America Agarwal, meaning that if you're looking at players, Indian players with international experience on the batting front, they are missing one top-class international India player, and America Agarwal was that player for them in the previous season. And you saw in 2020 and 2021 how well we did, and I still thought they should have brought him back again, and they'll have to make do with what they have. But they've got an able player in Jitesh Sharma who was brilliant the last season with both bat and the gloves. He batted at 5 and he's got a national call-up as well, despite the fact that he couldn't get a game so far. And I think he could have got a game, especially in the home T20s. And because of the absence of Johnny Bairstow, I would actually bat Jitesh Sharma at number 3. He's got an India call-up now, and I think this is the right point in time in terms of a confidence level to take up the responsibility at number 3. And Shah Rukh Khan, the previous year, didn't have a great season. He's got a good first-class record, and we've seen the talent that he possesses in domestic cricket. And I think that even in 2021, I think you saw him play a couple of cameos, especially the one against KKR. So the 2020 season wasn't a season that he'd like to look back on too much. And I think he would certainly want to learn from what happened in that season. And he's a very capable player. And I think that he would be a huge part of their season at number 6. As far as absentees go, Johnny Bairstow hasn't been granted an NOC by the ECB, meaning he'll be missing this IPL season. We saw what he did in 2019 and 2020 for the Sunrisers, and I didn't think he was out of form in the previous season, and things did get better for him in that season when he was promoted to opening the batting at the expense of Mayank Agarwal. And regarding Liam Livingstone, he's been recovering from an injury ever since the T20 World Cup, and he's missed the entirety of the SAT20 recently. And if he is ruled out, they'll be missing out on the impact that he could offer, like he did in the previous season. 437 runs at a strike rate of 182, averaging 36. And if he does miss this tournament, then it'll be interesting to see who they sign. They've signed Matthew Short from the Big Bash League as a replacement for Johnny Bairstow. And on paper, no disrespect to the player, but I feel like with players from the Big Bash coming to the IPL, especially batsmen who haven't done too well, we've seen that be a trend in the last while. And there were players such as Rassi van der Dissen and Tom Kolakad more available, and you got 12 crores to sign a quality replacement. And no disrespect to Matthew Short, but I feel like on paper there were better options. And regarding the starting 11 that they could go with, I've gone with Shikhar Dhawan and Prabhsimran Singh opening the batting. I was skeptical on what Prabhsimran Singh would do this season, and I still am slightly skeptical, but he's been in good form in the side Mushtaq Ali, and I think he should take that form into this IPL season. Jitesh Sharma at number 3, like I said, he is at the position where he can take responsibility at number 3. He's been called up to the national side as well. Liam Livingstone, hopefully for the Punjab Kings, he plays and he can bat at 4. And Sikandar Raza, I talked about him in the RCB preview video where I thought he can really inject momentum in terms of quick runs in the middle of the innings and can at least bowl 2 or 3 overs on most surfaces. And he's been good in T20s, especially in the last 4. He's been in great international form, and I feel like he's a very good signing for the Punjab Kings, so he would bat at number 5. Shah Rukh Khan at 6, this should be a big season for him, and he's got all the talent, and let's see what he does in the season. Sam Curran at 7, either Harpreet Baur or Raj Bawa at number 8, depending on the conditions. You've got Kagiso Rabada at 9, Rahul Chahar at 10, and Arshdeep Singh at 11. They'd want their Indian batsmen to fire, like I said before. They don't have a top-class international Indian batsman. You've got Atharva Taidev, who scores runs in the domestic circuit, but apart from him, you don't really have too much. And as far as impact players go, I'm trying to see here. You could potentially play another bowler for some of the batsmen and keep maybe Harpreet Baur and Raj Bawa, depending on the conditions. They don't have too much to play with, but I think they have to make sure their first 11 goes well for them to succeed this season. Had they got a Mayank Agarwal in this side, and had I got an assurance that this first 11 would go well, then maybe things, maybe I would have thought things could be good for them this season. But despite the fact that they've got some good players there, I just think it's a bridge too far for them to qualify for the playoffs at this point in time. And like I said for LSG, I feel this latest auction has certainly compromised their squad from the previous season. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe, share it with your friends. Remember, this is my opinion. What's yours?